Welcome to ExpandAbilities Meets, the podcast where mindset, resilience, and real conversations help shape complete athletes. I'm Alex.
I'm Robert. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody. Each episode, we dive into the mental side of athletic performance, the stories behind the struggles, and the habits that help athletes grow on and off the field. Thanks for being here. Now, let's expand our abilities together. Robert, let's get into it. So, how was your Christmas?
Christmas was well. Was well. I had got all the gifts I wanted. I went out today and got me some more gifts after the fact. So it was a good day. It was a
You
good
bought
day. I
your
can't
own, you bought your own gifts.
exactly when you really want to be happy. Sometimes you just have to just take charge and just get what you want.
You got to buy your own gifts.
That's
Hey,
right.
I get it.
What about you?
Spent a lot of time with the family, as I'm sure you did as well with your six wonderful kids and many grandchildren. Uh,
Thanks for saying that. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely. It makes you feel old, doesn't it?
Yeah, good thing I don't look that old.
No, you don't at all. Just some grays, but that's okay. That's all right. Not a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
Um, I'm wearing my Bears hat today because, well, my family's from Chicago, and my beloved Lions just are not doing well. They were eliminated from the playoffs yesterday,
Oh,
Christmas Day.
that had to hurt.
They had six turnovers. So anyone who has six turnovers doesn't
Deserve
belong
to
in the
lose.
playoffs, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like the Raiders. At least they have more wins than the Raiders.
Well, the Raiders they were tanking from the first game of the season,
Yeah,
so they had they had on their mind we're losing every game,
that's all right.
and
Hey, it's good for the draft picks, right?
that depends. I don't know.
So
Sometimes the best guys are in the tail end of the draft.
I get it. But I mean, that's why I have this wonderful background behind me because it's tis the season, but then it's also I'm at my family's house. And so I don't have my whole setup going on where we're taking expandabilities meets on the road, similar to how you did a few weeks ago with I went on your way to work. So
Yes,
now it's my turn.
yes.
So
Either way, it works. Either
let's get
way,
into it.
it works.
I know we talked about suicide about a month ago, right?
Yeah,
So we're kind of going back to that. Why? Because it is very important. And the simple fact and statistic alone that it is the second leading cause of death for individuals 15 to 35 years old, that's a reason to talk about it again. And I think for those who are listening, like this is something we're going to bring up every so often. It's not something we're just going to push under the rug. It's not something we're just going to do one time and be done. It's not a one and done. This is something we have to continue talking about because that statistic, man, is just way, way, way too high.
right. And to that point, recently at the school I'm at, I'm not going to say what school I'm from or anything like that, but at the school I'm at, we had a recent tragedy of a suicide of a coach. So it really doesn't just touch athletes, it touches coaches as well.
Yeah. And how old was this individual?
For my take, it's probably around 26. So
So super young and falls into that
super,
15 to 35 age
yeah,
range, right?
definitely. Yeah. Young guy, young kid.
And they've
Still
obviously been around kids. They were teacher, coach, right?
teacher, coach, just working their way through the life of coaching. Um, he coached with us for, not with me, but he was at school I was at for at least the last 3 years for sure.
And I guess what was the reaction when people found out? The kids don't know how he died, correct? They
Yeah.
just thought they see it as a tragic death, right?
I can't speak to that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Some may know, some may not know. But I can tell you how I reacted. I was shocked. I was, I understand that, people, we work with individuals all the time. And sometimes we have to take a step back and take care of ourselves too. We have to look at, what's going on with us. Um, he may have been overwhelmed. I do not know. I never, I only coached with him a couple of times when I stepped in just to help out before my season got going,
Yeah.
because their season starts around the same time that your season begins. Um, so I would go there, stay after school, help out. I did a couple times last year, but I was shocked. You know,
And you said, so this is high school sports, and you said it was which sport, wrestling or football?
as a wrestling coach.
It's wrestling coach. So you got to think of the time commitment that someone is, you know, providing with being a part of any sport, but especially wrestling. Sometimes like I know our wrestling coaches do 7 days a week where they help out with the youth teams as well, and then they have youth team tournaments on Sundays along with everything high school from Monday through Saturday, right? So you got to think how many hours is this guy in front of these same kids where it's like you're creating your own family, your own atmosphere within the school, right?
Mhm.
So it makes me think, excuse me, so it makes me think of again, we can't put ourselves in this guy's mind. We can't put ourselves in his situation. We obviously don't know what was going through his head.
Right, and
We
I'm
never
not even
will.
going right, and I'm not even going to try to. Um, I can't imagine what would make individual go to that level to in their lives, and it doesn't not only affect him, of course, it affects him, but affects everyone that was connected to him, from his parents to I'm not sure if he had any children or not, uh, his assistant coaches, individuals that he was coaching or mentoring, or anyone that knew him. So it affects a lot. However, whatever he was going through was was too much for him to bear. Which I wish, even for me, I wish I could have seen it. I wish, you know,
The honest truth, and it's hard to hear. It's hard for some people to hear, but this is just a harsh, honest truth is suicide is a selfish act. Why? Because a lot of times when someone even thinks of suicide, they're thinking about themselves, their own lives, what is so bad in their life and pushing off what is actually the good in their life. The relationships that are built, especially as a coach, like the relationships built with your athletes, with the coaches you coach with. I mean, look at you and I, for instance. We spent a lot of time together coaching
yeah,
and even traveled for different tournaments, right? And I feel like it definitely made us closer. So you got to think for a coach to spend time with other coaches, you're building that relationship, but you're also building relationships with each one of your athletes. And in wrestling, I'm sure he had over 50 athletes, right?
oh, easy,
Yeah. And so
50
it's just
easily.
like, I know the size of the program depends on the school, but it doesn't matter because it builds those relationships and I can't imagine what the kids would be going through if one day he's coaching them on the mat and then the next day you find out he died by suicide. And you
Yeah,
gotta think, man, like something was so bad in his life. But again, I don't know. That's someone's decision whether they want to decide whether it's, worth it or not worth it, because for us, we have to realize what is the most important things in our lives. What makes us happy? Because honestly, there's something, it's hard to put in words. But
yeah. It's definitely hard to explain. It's hard to put into words. I know the one thing is that when the person is going through these things, we have to recognize the signs, whether it's selfless or not. We still, as as colleagues, when we say, "Hey, how's your day?" We get that generic answer, "Oh, everything's good, everything's fine." But sometimes we need to dig deeper. Okay, what makes your day? What is making your day good? What's going on with your life that's having you make sure that you're having a good day, or what's when you say, "Oh, it's okay." Okay, why is it okay? What happened? How can we make that day better for you? How can we make the remainder of your day better? So those are the things that we have to dig a little bit deeper on.
and I hate I hate being told that someone is fine. And I know it's supposed to be a positive, I mean, not necessarily a positive word, but just kind of in the middle, right? But to me, fine means freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. When I used to work in residential behavioral health, I made a little piece of paper, right? It was just a little a sticky note, right?
Yeah.
And I wrote that down. FINE. And I had its meaning, freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And then at the end, it said, strive to be better than fine. You should always want to be better than fine. You want to be great. You even want to be good. Even okay. Okay is a step in the right direction. But when you say you're fine, you could tell underneath that fake smile,
I'm
maybe the
fine,
face,
Alex.
huh?
I said I'm fine.
You're not fine. You're saying you're fine. You are not fine. And it's just like, and that's something when someone tells me they're fine, I'm like, no, you're obviously not fine. Something is wrong. I would like to talk about it. And again, I don't want to push you at all, but I
Right.
got to let you know that I am here for you. That like you have this person in this corner. Especially if he's been coaching there for 3 years, he's obviously built relationships with people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at least 3 years for sure. I believe and he's built relationship. He was very effective at what he did. He worked with all the female girls wrestlers. That was his. I believe that was his primary responsibility. He did a great job with it. Outstanding job with it.
I'm sure he was respected too.
Yeah.
You never heard anything bad about him, right?
No. No.
So the
Sure.
only thing that I could think of is maybe something in his personal life. I mean, that's something that not everyone is very outspoken about. Like you and I are two very different people, right? So you and I, like, I'm very open book. You're more so you need to be in my corner, right? That's why
No,
we're
I
friends.
mean, hey, yeah, I'm open. If you know me,
That's what I'm saying. You have to be in my corner.
yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be in my corner, man.
I could have a conversation with a stranger on the elevator and be like, hey, this is what's going on in my life. And they could either be like, I really don't care, or or I'm sorry to hear that. And then boom,
Well,
turn
I'm
into a
I'm
friendship.
I'm I'm the same way, but on the opposite end. I'm I can speak to anyone and ask them like, hey, tell me what's going on because I want to know. How can I help you? What can I do for you? How can we work together? I'm that person.
I mean, I think we're both the people where we don't really care if we bring attention to ourselves either.
Oh no,
I remember when we were coming back
clearly,
from
clearly,
when we were coming back from Nashville, and
right.
you were the last guy to come on the plane. They were like, "Don't worry, I'm the last one." This is Everyone just started laughing. It's just
Yeah.
like, dude, you just brought attention to you with like 70 other people on this plane.
Right. It was a long line. I said, hey,
I'm it.
I'm in. Don't worry about it.
Which is funny because I thought you had a sooner ticket to get on. I didn't think you were in that group. I got
Okay.
on before you. I sat in
Yeah,
the front between two strangers.
I
You
know
just
you
kept
did.
going.
Yeah,
Hey, but that could
piggyback.
be overwhelming for some people, So maybe this individual who took his own life wasn't comfortable. And maybe instead of verbalizing that or saying something about it, again, we can't make all these inferences. We can't
Yeah.
because we have no clue.
Right. I hate to speculate, and I don't want to try to speculate. I just know that
There's multiple
there's a
factors. There's multiple factors
right,
that could tie into it, right?
right, exactly.
But now let's talk about the impact it has on the athletes. Because honestly, as long as you try to hide it, kids find out. Kids are smart.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Kids are smart. And
Sure.
I'm sure there's at least one or two, if not more, that know exactly what happened. Not why it happened, but they know what happened.
Yeah,
And then
and
when,
then it goes from there. And then it goes from there.
but here's the thing, you ever think that some of these kids think that it had something to do with them? Or maybe it had something to do, like people always start not really to blame each other, but they start to almost take responsibility, like, hey, like I could have been better. I could have done this. I could have done this. And it's something I've seen before with, people, friends of mine who've had people close to them commit suicide, is they always question, what could I have done more? Could I have helped? and then they start to just tear themselves down thinking like there
Well,
truly has to be something.
that is I feel that's a natural reaction to say, hey, what could I have done better? What could we have done different? However, it doesn't mean we have to tear ourselves down about it. I mean, we address it, we look at it, and then we don't move on. But we definitely keep it in the forefront. But try not try not to let it affect our everyday lives. With some individual, it may affect their match. It well, it definitely going to affect some of their matches. Um, when we're talking about the student, the wrestler, but overall, we have to learn how to just work through it day by day. Don't push it. Don't assume. Don't make assumptions, and don't take no blame. This is not our fault, and no means.
It's definitely not our fault. And yes, it is considered a selfish act, but it's not his fault.
No,
He was going through some challenges.
yeah,
It's what we talk about every single week. We talk about people going through challenges. We talk about people needing help, need someone to talk to. And that brings us to a really important point, Rob, is it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to ask for help. And typically, I know we talked about it before, for suicide and specifically, the typical age, the most common age for males to commit suicide is actually in their 70s and 80s because they feel like they can't do anything anymore. They're becoming more and more kind of weak
more
and
of a burden, and then
exactly. They can't handle it. They can't handle like they can't do it themselves. It's that do it mentality that just derives from historically in males.
right,
For females, it's usually late 50s to 60s. That's that range, right? And the reason is because they're empty nesters by that age, husbands can leave, like it's just there's all these different life effects that can happen. And I think
yeah,
that just brings us to the importance of having that type of have a to have that type of support. And I think it's important to have family, man. I'll be honest. Like I don't know where I'd be without my family. You have a big family. You grew up in a huge family with a lot of siblings.
yeah.
I
I
know I
mean,
know how
Christmas,
close you are with your siblings.
yeah. I mean, Christmas Day, I made sure I called all my siblings that I could. I only missed one. Um, I don't have her phone number, but the rest of them, I made sure I made some type of contact. So,
And what happens if they're going through something? They know they can contact you, right?
yep, that's right. That's without a question.
And that's just it
That's
makes you
without
think
question.
like, what was this guy's support system? Because support is always number one. You not only it's not okay to be it's okay to not be okay, but also you have support. And if you don't have family, family doesn't have to be blood. You and I are family, man.
That's
100%.
right.
And so it's like
100%.
and so it's like put the people in your life that make you want to be better, that make you want to um continue to live each day to its fullest, right?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, last night I was looking at houses in Valparaiso. Like, hey, I'm going to open up this restaurant facility. I am going to do that. So
Well, I think you've always been so centered on the kids. I've been centered on the kids. Like the what we can do to impact these kids' lives. Like I'm taking some of our wrestlers to this tournament in Lansing, Michigan on Sunday, right? We're going
yeah,
to be there for a couple days for this hard-nosed competitive tournament, right?
that's outstanding, man.
It's gonna be cool. But it's all about finding these opportunities and kind of showing them that you're going to be there for them because I'll tell you what. I'm not doing that for me. Obviously, I'm losing money that I'm not getting anything, right? And
Yeah,
so, but the idea is once these individuals see that, hey, you're going the distance literally for them. And here's the cool thing is since I teach at the high school, they're going to see me for the next 4 years. They know they can count on me.
yeah.
That's why
They
I
know
like the
you'll be
middle school.
there.
Yeah.
They know you'll be there.
And I even told them, I said, hey, stop by my office, stop by my room. Like we could chat, like I know in this bed office we give candy, it's the fun stuff. Um, but we wanna try to be there for our students and for our athletes as much as anything because
Yeah.
It's
That's
almost
one thing I that's one thing I wonder, like, if why kids come to my office all the time. If it's is it for the snacks or is it for me? I haven't figured that
depends how
out
good the
yet.
snacks are.
Well, most of the time we're good. This last batch wasn't great, but when I come back from break, I'm gonna have a good set of snacks there for me.
What kind of snacks are you gonna have, Robert?
Well, a variety of chips, and they like Cheetos, not Cheetos, the goldfish,
Something I've learned.
like that.
This is interesting, but like just simply giving a snack to some of these kids is some of the best things they can ever have because I'm not going to say they starve, but they're not getting snacks at home. You
No,
know, they're not getting anything that's really, of importance and to
right?
them, they're
Yeah,
just
I was going to say
life.
value,
They're
something of
living
value.
life according to them.
You know, a snack is a value to them. Some of the some individuals don't see that, but a snack is very valuable. Value, it's valuable to them.
It's not, I wouldn't say it's materialistic. I
No,
would say it's more so a symbol of trust. Like,
like
hey,
build connections,
you care enough
build
about me to
relations.
give me this. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like because there's a teacher I work with who buys a lot of snacks and she gives them to all her kids, and the kids on her caseload are just very, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them do have issues at home. They have
Yeah,
challenges at home where sometimes they can't stay at home. They'll wear the same pair of clothes for 3 days because they just
yeah,
haven't been home. Mom and dad don't really show any type of, care. And so this teacher who I work with is who's awesome. Shout out to Tammy. She's great. She's awesome. She's kind of that mom that these kids need in their lives. And she provides them snacks. She got some clothes to give to one of them. She is, I'm not going to say like providing a better life, but in some ways she is. They look to go to school for safety.
yeah. I mean, that's how I feel about my office. My all the individuals in the office that I work at, um, they are some of the most they are the most caring people in this building in the school. Even quite a few of the teachers as well, very caring. So that's one thing. I'm glad there's a lot of support at the place where I'm at.
Might as well. And it makes you think as a coach, what could we be doing more of to ensure that our players feel supported, our athletes, to ensure that our athletes don't have to go through things like that. And again, like I'm not saying we're causing any issues by any means, but it's more so how can we prevent any issues from happening in regards to being there for our coaches who help us, because I know we're both head coaches, or being
Right.
there for our athletes so they could seek solitude. You know what I mean?
Yep, for sure.
So what do you think? Like what are something we could do more of just as a society, as coaches who are listening to this, athletic personnel,
Check in. We need to check in more. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take much. It's a true check in,
not just
not
the hey,
a
how you're doing.
not a fine. A true check in.
If they say fine, I'm getting worried. We got to figure something
Dig
out here,
deep.
man.
Dig deeper. Right.
And I think too, like putting them in the right direction towards the resources that are best suited for them. And if a coach is a history teacher, I'm not saying they can't talk to an athlete about what's going on emotionally, but I would say give them talk to someone who could help them. And that's always the thing. It's like, hey, I know we're both involved in mental health, but I'm going to put them in directions that are maybe better suited for them. If they can open
Yes.
up to me, like I had an athlete who I found out was cutting, right? So the day after, I immediately reported it. Not a true report, but I went up the totem
Chain
pole about
commands. Yeah.
exactly about like, hey, like this is what I've noticed. These are the hot spots for cutting when someone wants to self-harm. Just something I know from the past, and with working with these populations, and I feel like this needs to be checked in on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's one thing first thing I cover. I do not want to see any type of form of cutting. I tell my wrestlers, you're going to wrestle what you weigh. When you fall into a certain next weight class, okay, we can adjust from there. But right now, you are wrestle wherever you weigh.
I meant physical cuts, man.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
They're both physical.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I guess both sides it cuts, right? Because
Yeah.
hey, if you think about it, if you're intentionally not eating,
Harm
it's a
yourself.
form of self-harm.
Yes, you're hurting yourself.
Exactly. And
When
so it's like, and if you're
when
fine
somebody's
with it,
cutting themselves, you know, I've I've had, cases where individuals I had to, report. I had to go into proper chain of command, of course.
were the athletes mad? Because I feel like once they find
Well,
out, they're going to be, some of them
well,
react in negative ways.
well, one thing I let them know is, hey, I know you may not like this, but these are the steps I have to take. Even when I talk about suicide in my office, I let them know, hey, you talk about hurt yourself, someone else, and somebody's harming you. These are these are the steps I have to take. Even if I have an inkling and I feel that person is in danger of self harm, I'm going to take appropriate steps.
You have to. And it's the same reason. Like I told a student when they said, like they make the kind of gesture where they're kind of strangling themselves, or they say like I just want to die. I'm like, listen, you can't say that. They're like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like, no, 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 no. You don't understand. You cannot say that because we have to take it as a real kind of threat. When you
Right.
want to hurt yourself or someone else, that has to be reported immediately. Or like, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. And I'm like, okay, then you can't joke about it. Like they don't realize the statistics behind this. They don't realize that, this is near in accidents as a number one cause of death for this age group. That's a problem. That's a problem. And what can we
Major
do? What
problem,
can we
major
do as a
concern.
society is pretty simple. I mean, we have to continue to care for these kids like they're our own, but also we have to we have to show them that it's okay to have adversity. You
Yeah,
know, challenges are a part of life, but how you handle them is what we need to learn. I don't know.
exactly right.
What were you gonna say?
No, I'm just glad that we touched on this again because, like you said, this isn't going to be the first or the second time. We'll probably come back around to it. We just
We
won't
have
come
to.
around when something happens, but we'll come around to it when we, gain more insight.
We have to because ultimately the impact this can have on other coaches, colleagues, um, and
Athletes,
athletes is it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And so I know that a lot of people go through hard times in life. I know that a lot of people go through times where they feel like they're better off dead, where they're
yeah,
better off just not here because it's that hard, whether that be the situation, whether that be the person they're dealing with. It could just be the specific time in life. Um, but grass always gets greener. I mean, a good analogy is, like it snows, the snow eventually melts, right? Then you see green grass again. So treat that like adversity. Adversity will pass with time and effort, but suicide is just it's some see it as a form of giving up. And
right,
I don't want anyone to give up.
right,
Life's work.
correct. And if anyone out there, if you're having trouble or challenges, call 988. That's the suicide hotline. If you do
Or
want,
you could text 98882.
you can text 988, or if you want to chat, you can go 988lifeline.org. It will also give you opportunity to chat.
It's a 24-hour hotline that anybody, regardless of age, can use if they're contemplating taking their own lives. We want everyone out there to be safe, um, so we can create a better tomorrow for everyone else. And
Sure.
so, in order to do that, we need to make sure, as coaches, we're remaining great role models to our athletes, to the kids we work with. But also, we got to make sure we're taking care of ourselves too and seeking out that help when we need it. I know
Well
these are
said.
heavy. These are heavy topics. These are heavy topics. This is hard. It's hard to listen to. It's hard to cover. It's hard to talk about. I understand completely. I understand. And but we have to have these types of conversations. And that's the point of this podcast. We want to broaden our horizon. We want to be able to normalize these types of conversations. And I think moving forward, we're going to have that with some more people coming on our podcast, right, Rob?
Yes, for our next podcast, we will have a person. I will allow them to introduce themselves because I'm not sure how they want to be introduced. So I will. They will be here during our next podcast, and hopefully, you will get some insight on um on our topic. And the topic is will be eating disorders. So, and I will let that person explain everything that's going on in their lives.
I think it'll be great. I think it'll be great for everyone to hear another voice besides ours.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
But
No,
I
we
enjoyed
change
this
it up
most.
every now and then.
Yeah, exactly. And I think having other people on here will be awesome because it gives people another chance to hear someone else's side and especially their story. Um, I've known people who have gone through things like that. I'm sure you have as well. I personally haven't, so I can't really speak to it. Um, so I think it'll be cool to hear that side of the story.
Perfect.
But with that being said, this has been the end of Expandabilities Meets for this week. So this has been Expandabilities Meets. We're the podcast. We are the podcast where mindset, resilience, and real conversations help shape the complete athlete. I'm Alex.
Now, Robert, Merry Christmas again.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy all your holiday season with your family, your loved ones, your friends. Make the most out of it. Be there for each other and tell someone how much you mean to them because I'm sure it'll go a long way this holiday season.
That's right.
We look forward to seeing you guys next time. This has been
Yes.
Expandabilities Meets. Peace out.